Greetings and welcome to Miles More Motivation, the show that is designed to give you more happiness, fulfillment, success, and obviously more motivation. In this episode, I want to talk to you about everlasting love. I want to talk to you about, specifically for those of you that are in love, for those of you that are not in love, I want to share with you from my experience 3 things that I do, that me and Sati do, to help to strengthen our bond and to strengthen our relationship. First, I want to kind of start by telling you a story. It's a recent story. Me and Sati were out for a walk and we saw a lovely lady who walked past us. She's walking with her dog, and she just kind of smiled and paused, and I could tell she wanted to say something, and she stopped and she just said, not remember the exact words, but she said, "You two keep looking after each other." And we were like, "Oh, thanks, that's really sweet of you." And she said, "Yeah, me and my husband, we've been, just this last week, we've been married for 30 years. I was like, "Wow, that's amazing. That's incredible. Like, we aspire to be like that. That's just amazing." But before I could say anything else, she said, "Unfortunately, we're parting ways." And I said, "I'm sorry to hear that." And she said, "Yeah, no, I'm good with it." She said, "But, I realized looking back that, it was really a relationship out of comfort. And there's things that we were doing at the beginning that we stopped doing. And that's ultimately the reason why the relationship became irreparable." And as sad as that was, we walked away from that situation feeling a sense of pride, because, we've been together 7 years now, and there's some things that we do that I feel like we're better than ever. I feel like we're stronger than ever. I feel we're more in love than ever. And I feel like we are only improving day by day. We know that nothing in life is for certain. Nothing is guaranteed. We don't know what the future holds. But a bit like kind of working on your health and fitness, if you do the work within reason, you will have great health and fitness. And so in this video, I want to share with you 3 things that, from my experience, 3 things that work for me and Sati, 3 things that I think really amplify and hit home the point from the lady who's been married 30 years. 3 things that I've learned from people that I know who have been married for 20, 30 years, who are still very much in love. And I've kind of encapsulated that into 3 points that I think, if you're in love right now, and maybe you want to amplify that and raise that to an even more amazing standard, or you're not in love and you want to know that the next time that you meet someone, that they are more likely to be the right person for you, I think these 3 points, for whichever part of that spectrum you're on, they're going to be really helpful. So the first thing for me that is most important when it comes to everlasting love is to have what I call character goals. I always say that my biggest, most influential personal development teachers are not the Tony Robbinses and the Oprah Winfreys and the Les Browns. They're the Helens, the Sarahs, and the Natalies, which, full transparency, are 3 of my ex-girlfriends, because those relationships taught me everything that needed changing, refining, improving within my character, so that I could be a better person, be a better man, etc. And I'm blessed to say that as a result of making many of those mistakes, they've helped me recognize where I needed to change and improve. And I'm far from perfect, but I definitely know that I'm better at this than I was years ago. So for me, one of the biggest differences for me was to stop looking at the kind of person that I wanted to attract, and instead spending more time on, who do I need to become to attract my ideal partner? What kind of person do I need to be? So many people I know that are single, in fact, even people in relationships will say, they do this wrong, they don't do that right, they should be more attentive to my needs. And I say, how about you focus on the man/woman in the mirror? How about you focus on yourself and what you could do to be a better person, rather than analyzing them? "Oh, but I do all that, I read the books and they don't." Okay, well then maybe it's time to really practice what you preach. Because for me, one of the things I've learned about personal development is you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. For years I used to bang on about personal development to people and they would never listen, and I wondered why. And then when I stopped banging on about personal development and I just started living the message, all of a sudden people were asking me what books I'm reading, what supplements I'm taking, what crazy drugs am I on? Like, why are you always so happy? So as kind of Maya Angelou says, you know, be the change you want to see in the world. So think about your character and how you can develop that. Next, really aimed at people that are in relationships, and also for those of you that are not thinking towards that, is what I call connection goals. Meaning it's really important that you and your partner have goals that are shared goals. For me and Sati, one of our shared goals is fitness. We met in a fitness environment. You know, we used to go to the gym together before Sage was born. We work out often together. We have fitness in common. That was our primary thing that we found in common. Since then, we found other things in common, but it's really important that you find at least one thing that really excites both of you. If you go, but Miles, you know, me and my husband, we're so different. You know, he rides his motorcycle and I do gardening. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you don't find something that is a goal that you can share together, it'll be very difficult for you to find common ground whenever there's conflict. Because if there's one of the things I've learned from relationships, it's, you know, Stephen Covey said it best. He said, if you want to be understood, seek first to understand. So if you are in that situation where your husband's a motorcyclist and you like doing the gardening and you, God forbid, would never get on his motorcycle, if you want him to understand you more, I'm challenging you to get on that motorcycle. Because if you do that, he's way more likely to come to the garden. And if you're not willing to do that, then find something else that you could create that is a common ground. Because when you have goals that you share, you're way more likely to maintain that connection. And one of our human needs is connection. And the best way for you to grow as a couple long term is to find, if you can't, find, if you don't have something already, find something that is a shared, connected goal. And the last thing, this is kind of taken out of the playbook of a great mentor of mine, Tony Robbins, who says, you know, if you treat the relationship now as it was in the beginning, there will never need to be an end. You know, if the relationship was not very good at the beginning, then we have a problem, right? But if the relationship at the beginning brought you butterflies, brought you joy, brought you excitement, every time your phone pinged and it was them texting you to arrange your next meetup, if that brought you real joy and excitement, then you need to have what we call relationship resets. Relationship resets basically means push the reset button and take yourself back to the beginning. Do things on a daily, weekly basis that you'd have done in the beginning, and you're way more likely to ensure that there never is an end. Some of the things that we do in our house in this current climate that we're in with this lockdown at the time of doing this video, me and my wife will have date night tonight. On the day of doing this video is date night, and that will require us to, you know, we'll put some tunes on in the kitchen, put some old tunes on from yesteryear, old R&B. You know, we'll have a gin and tonic, sweet potato fries. We'll dance in the kitchen because we don't go clubbing anymore, right? In fact, we're the kind of people that when we go on holiday, funny story, we've been to, in the last few years, places like Los Angeles and Miami and the Bahamas. And we always talk a big game before we go away of, yeah, we'll just have at least one night where we go out late because we're in Miami, you know, and then we're in bed at like 8:30. But we're in the gym the following morning at 6 a.m., which, like I said, is our connected goals. So relationship reset is think about things that you did in the beginning, and if you don't have them scheduled, start rescheduling things that you used to do right at the start. Suggestions would be things like go to an old restaurant that you went to before, go to an old bar that you went to before, go and do some things you used to do in the beginning. If you used to go to the cinema often and now you stopped, start redoing things that you used to do in the beginning, and that will help you reset, which will help you to maintain that everlasting love. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, hit like, hit share, and if you want to talk more about this, if you feel like you need some help with this area of love, feel free to book in for a coaching call. There should be a link underneath the video where you can do that. Other than that,